as President Biden and Cookie Monster fret about shrinkflation, have you seen what Bitcoin is doing? The cryptocurrency briefly hitting a new all-time high today, touching 69,000 before falling as much as 10% shortly after that, now trading a bit above 63,000 right now. Believers argue that this proves that Bitcoin is indeed a hedge against inflation. Joining us now, Anthony Pompliano, partner at Pomp Investments. Pomp, great to have you back here on the Hill. Appreciate the time. Your newsletter got my attention yesterday because this is what you wrote about. You said the first public pension funds to buy Bitcoin are up 10x right now. Should pension funds and government be investing in this?
Well, I think there's two different things. Let's talk pension funds first. In the United States, if you look at all the state public pension funds, there was 4 state pension funds that were actually fully funded in 2023. And so that means that they are underfunded. They have made promises and they don't have the money currently to pay back those promises when it comes due. And so they've got to do something different. The definition of insanity is if you keep doing what you're doing and expect different results. And so here what we're seeing is if they had gone back, I actually wrote a piece in 2018 that said every public pension fund should buy 1% of their assets and put it in Bitcoin. If they lose it, they're going to lose 1%. They're still underfunded, right? But if it works, it could actually be helpful. About 14% of all their assets now would be in Bitcoin. It's about 14x from that point. And so that would bring from 4 to 14 different pensions being fully funded. And so I think that then you can go look at the governments. There is a global race. There's 21 million Bitcoin. Right now, we know El Salvador, a couple of other smaller countries are buying Bitcoin or mining Bitcoin. But what happens if all of a sudden a large geopolitical player, they either start to buy the ETFs or they go buy Bitcoin directly? At that point, the United States and other large countries are going to have to make a decision. Do I wait? Do I actually sit this out? Or do I try to get some of this Bitcoin and try to have some meaningful percentage of that 21 million?
You're saying like if the public investment fund in Saudi Arabia, for example, goes forward and says, you know what, we're throwing money at this.
I think it's interesting that the ETFs are now available. Historically, if one of the other countries outside the United States had gone and bought a bunch of Bitcoin and it was considered either an ally or a potential enemy of the United States, there would be geopolitical risk. Why are they buying it? But now, if you simply get financial exposure through the ETFs, you actually don't hold the Bitcoin, but you get to participate in the price appreciation. And so it would not surprise me whatsoever that sovereign wealth funds are going through the ETFs to get the exposure.
Okay, I hear you, and you make the argument, but you also know, Pomp, and you know this better than I do, that there's real skepticism out there, right? This was a poll from Pew last year, 75% of the country not confident in crypto's safety and reliability. So what would you say to the folks who say, you know what, I'm not quite there just yet?
That gives me confidence that we're onto something. My job as an investor is to go find contrarian bets early that will become consensus later on. And so in terms of finding Bitcoin when no one else believes in it, you want to go and allocate capital then. And then as more and more people get convinced of its value, that is where you reap the return. And so if you had run that same poll 10 years ago, it would have been 99% think that it is not valuable. Today it's 75, eventually it'll be 50. And then at some point it'll be like 5% think it's not valuable or isn't safe, sturdy, et cetera.
Okay. RFK Jr., of course, presidential candidate, polling somewhere between 10 to 15%, give or take, whatever poll you look at on whatever given day. Here's what he said. I want to get your reaction on the other side of the break. He basically, we don't have the sound, Pomp, but he basically pitched Bitcoin as a freedom technology and said that it is something that should be available to the middle class. The reason why I bring up RFK Jr., we're in the middle of a presidential race, as you know, Pomp. Where's the Bitcoin community on who, and maybe it's not, you know, one way or the other, but where is the community as to who might be the best presidential candidate or preferred candidate as it relates to Bitcoin and the presidential race?
When it comes to Bitcoin and politics, I think one thing that is interesting, there's a lot of young people who look at this as a single kind of issue vote, right? They say, if you are for Bitcoin, I'm interested in your message. If you are not for Bitcoin, I am not interested in you as a candidate. And that's not everyone in the Bitcoin community, but there is a larger percentage than you would think. The other thing is that I think RFK here is correct, right? If you look at 50% of Americans, and they tend to be the bottom 50% in the economic ladder, they save 100% of their wealth. They have no investable assets. And so inflation and the debasement of the currency eat away at that. They literally have this hidden tax that are getting at their funds. And so if now they are given a savings technology like Bitcoin that they can simply just save their wealth in, They don't have to go try to trade. They don't have to go try to figure out what's the next great stock to invest in. Saving their hard-earned economic value could actually have a material impact on their positioning, their purchasing power, and ultimately their pursuit of financial freedom.
Any comment on the Cookie Monster? No, I'm messing with you, Pop. We'll leave it there. Thank you for watching, and make sure you go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.